faithfully convey value and interpret great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Since ancient times, countless literary works have celebrated love. From the ancient Book of Songs to Shakespeare's classic drama, Romeo and Juliet, and then to the 20th century movie Titanic, humans never tire of love stories. Yet what love truly is remains unclear to most people. On this question, the ancient Greek philosopher Plato offered profound insights, with his most representative views appearing in the Symposium, which we'll explore today. Before interpreting this work, let's introduce the author, which greatly aids understanding this ancient text. First, Plato was an ancient Greek philosopher active around China's late spring and autumn period. In the early Warring States period, Plato was born into an Athenian aristocratic family, received excellent education, and harbored political ambitions in youth. But Athens declined after the Peloponnesian War, and his teacher Socrates was executed by democracy, so Plato abandoned politics, founded a philosophy academy, and devoted himself to philosophy. His most famous student was Aristotle, another giant in Western philosophy. Second, Plato's writing style is distinctive. He crafted philosophical dialogues like miniature theater. The protagonist in most is his teacher. Through Socrates in these dialogues, Plato challenges preconceptions with questions rather than answers, guiding philosophical inquiry. And for Plato, philosophy is active pursuit of truth, not static theory. Treating fixed doctrines as philosophy is absurd. This philosophy permeates all Plato's works, including the Symposium. That concludes our author background. Now we turn to the Symposium. As mentioned, Plato's works are philosophical dramas, and the Symposium exemplifies this theatrical nature. The story begins like this. In Athens lived Agathon, a brilliant tragic poet who won drama competitions young. To celebrate his award, the cultural elites of Athens gathered to hold a victory banquet for him. The story told in the Symposium takes place at a victory banquet attended by Socrates. According to ancient Greek customs, the so-called Symposium means gathering to drink and make merry. As luck would have it, since everyone drank too much the previous night, most people hadn't recovered yet. So everyone agreed to skip the drinking this time and instead give speeches, taking turns to praise love, to see who gave the best talk. Scholars divide the Symposium into 3 parts centered on Socrates' speech. The first part involves 6 intellectual elites discussing love, representing various views on love. In the second part of the drama, Socrates presents his insights on love, elevating the understanding to a philosophical level, which is the climax of the entire work. The third part of the drama is what happens after Socrates' speech. The young politician Alcibiades barged into the banquet, gave a praiseful speech, and Socrates finally ended the discussion with everyone resuming drinking. Next, we'll interpret the Symposium following this 3-part structure.
Before Socrates' speech, there were 6 speakers whose speeches represented popular opinions on love.
Let's look at each one. The first speaker was named Phaedrus. He was a young man close to Socrates, and as the first to speak, he set the tone for the entire love discussion in the Symposium. Love is praiseworthy because it makes us better. Phaedrus says love can make people more beautiful and even more virtuous. For example, before going out on a date, couples dress up to look good for each other. Similarly, if a young man encounters a robbery while on a date with his girlfriend, to show his masculinity, he might bravely intervene, all to maintain a good image in front of his lover, which is why we do many noble things. Phaedrus even said that if an army were composed entirely of lovers, one can imagine that to avoid embarrassment in front of their beloved, they would fight bravely, making such an army invincible. Phaedrus believes that love is praiseworthy because it can make people more virtuous, but the question is, does all types of love do this? The second speaker pointed this out clearly, arguing we must distinguish between different types of love. The second speaker was Pausanias, a legal expert. This jurist stated that while love can make people virtuous, not all relationships aim for virtue. Therefore, Pausanias advocated a dualistic analysis. Poor love seeks only physical pleasure, while noble love cultivates virtue. If you love someone merely for their beauty, that's base love with no good outcome. Conversely, love inspired by virtue and wisdom is noble love. Once we distinguish noble from vulgar love, the state should enact laws encouraging pursuit of noble love, cultivating virtue and wisdom through loving relationships. After the jurist's speech, a small incident occurred. By original order, comedian Aristophanes should speak next, but unfortunately, he couldn't stop hiccuping. Dr. Eric C. Marcus intervened, suggesting the comedian hold his breath or sip water.
Finally, as last resort, tickling the nose to induce sneezing.
After this commotion, the doctor spoke first, followed by the comedian. So what insight did the doctor offer about love? He said. The jurist correctly distinguished noble love as seeking wisdom, but how to achieve noble love? The jurist couldn't explain this. Only a doctor could. The doctor viewed love as harmony, unifying opposites, bringing happiness to all things. For example, men and women are opposites, yet love creates harmonious union. Humans achieve noble love through knowledge and technique. He gave medical example. Opposing elements like hot or cold in the body achieve health through harmonious balance, like lovers.
Otherwise, illness results.
Music example, with contrast. Knowledge transforms discordant notes into harmony, while ignorance creates noise. Therefore, only with knowledge can we guide harmonious relationships. That is good love.
As the doctor finished speaking, the comedian's hiccups happened to stop.
So he took over the doctor's topic and shared his perspective on love. The comedian agreed love brings happiness, but argued the doctor misunderstood why humans need love. Love arises from our sense of incompleteness. We need to love someone to become whole. To illustrate this, he used a myth about love's origin. Aristophanes said, long ago, humans had round bodies with 4 arms, 4 legs, and 2 round heads facing opposite directions. There were 3 genders, male, female, and a blended androgynous gender. These early humans were so proud of their strength that they challenged the gods. But reality was harsh. Human and divine power were hopelessly mismatched. After humans lost the war, the gods punished them by symmetrically splitting each spherical human into halves, creating our current form. After the split, humans desperately missed their other half, doing nothing but searching the world. When reunited, they'd cling together inseparably, feeling ultimate bliss. This intense longing for one's other half is what we call love. After the comedy master finished his myth, it was the turn of the banquet star, the tragedian. Poet Agathon spoke. Knowing tragedy and comedy are natural rivals, the tragedian's view of love completely different from the comedian's. First, the tragedian believed we fall in love not because someone resembles us, but because they're beautiful. Moreover, passionate desire flourishes in youth, so eros, love's symbol, must be young and beautiful, mingling with equally beautiful youths. To leap between human hearts, eros remains barefoot and light-bodied. Second, love's purpose isn't healing, it holds creative power, being the source of all beauty. For love can subdue the god of war, end conflicts, bring peace, and inspire literary creation. Indeed, it's the source of many masterpieces. So, since the god of love appeared on earth, all kinds of beautiful things emerged. Love is the source of all beauty in the world, tragedian. The poet's speech concluded, and now it's protagonist Socrates' turn. But before that, let's summarize part 1 of the Symposium, the various perspectives on love. Young Feders first proposed that love is praiseworthy because it improves us. The jurist argued love must be categorized, with noble love guiding us toward wisdom and virtue. The third speaker, the doctor, proposed love's function is harmonizing differences. The fourth speaker, the comic poet, said, humans love from a sense of lack, searching for their other half. Lastly, the tragedian exalted Eros as possessing supreme beauty of form and soul. Love isn't self-love, but passion for beauty. This concludes part 1 of the Symposium. Now we enter part 2. After Agathon's speech ended, the audience applauded wildly, but Socrates, scheduled after the tragedian, was preparing to leave. He said everyone seemed to misunderstand praise. Socrates believed praising something requires first speaking truth about it, then presenting it most beautifully. He'd thought praising love was his expertise given his studies, but seeing the tragedian completely misunderstand love, yet receive thunderous applause, made clear this setting was unsuitable for him. Eager to hear Socrates' insights, the crowd persuaded him to speak in his customary manner. Thus persuaded, Socrates began his formal symposium speech. His speech had two parts, first addressing the tragedian by refuting what love is not, and the second part, Socrates recalled his dialogue with a mysterious priestess discussing love's essence and function. First, let's examine part one of Socrates' speech.
Here, Socrates critiqued the tragedian's view, arguing his gravest error was deifying Eros.
Just now, the tragedian said, "Love is the most beautiful thing, so the god of love must be the most perfect among all gods." But Socrates pointed out that the tragedian missed a key question, whether the god of love himself has love in his heart. For example, the goddess representing beauty must be beautiful herself. The goddess representing wisdom must be wise. It's hard to imagine the god of love being hard-hearted, with no passion for love. So logically, the god of love must love something, but if he needs to fall in love, a problem arises. We only love what we lack. For instance, those who love money often feel their wealth isn't enough. Those who love health often feel their physical state is poor. Love as desire should be even more like this. If the god of love has love in his heart, it means he's lacking and not the most perfect. Therefore, Socrates believes that if the god of love is the best and most beautiful, it means he has no flaws and no need to love anything. But on the other hand, if the god of love loves something, he's flawed and can't be the most perfect god. Criticized by Socrates this way, the tragedian was speechless and eager to listen. Socrates' profound insights. Next, we come to the most crucial part of the symposium. Here lies Socrates' understanding of love. Socrates said that in his youth his view of love was as shallow as the tragedian's until he met a powerful sorceress. Through her teaching, he truly understood what the god of love is and love's purpose. So what is the god of love? Socrates said that strictly speaking, the god of love isn't a god. It's a daemon. This must be explained starting from the god of love's origin. In ancient Greece, there was a goddess symbolizing beauty named Aphrodite. Legend says that at her birth, the gods held a birthday banquet. The god of poverty and the god of wealth both attended. Then, the god of poverty saw the god of wealth drunk, secretly slept with him while he was unaware, and gave birth to a child, the god of love.
Thus, the god of love combines traits from both parents, sometimes like his mother, poverty, unkempt, destitute, wandering barefoot.
Sometimes he resembles his father, the god of wealth, radiant and full of energy. Eros' parents being divine means he's not mortal, yet unlike perfect gods, thus he's a daemon between deities and humans. Socrates' depiction of Eros mirrors passionate lovers. For instance, those who pine distractedly until reunited with their beloved. Upon reunion, they feel as if possessing the whole world, becoming the wealthiest beings alive. Though filled with passion, Eros pursues not mere beauty like mortals, but beauty itself. To the Greeks, nothing surpassed wisdom and beauty. Thus, Eros perpetually exists between ignorance and wisdom, ceaselessly craving knowledge. Similarly, love embodies this duality, bringing both lack and fulfillment, tirelessly pursuing beauty while seeking eternal possession. So now we understand love's essence. Then what purpose does love serve? Socrates declared love a means to achieve immortality. When we love someone, we naturally desire lifelong companionship till old age. True love transcends temporary possession. It seeks eternity, claiming the beloved forever. So how does love confer immortality? The priestess taught Socrates, procreation, enduring fame, and philosophical contemplation are three paths through which love grants immortality. First, procreation. Individually, every life is finite. But for the species, individual birth or death matters little. If reproduction continues, in modern terms, transmitting genetic information, achieves immortality. Love inspires physical procreation, enabling eternal genetic transmission. The second path to immortality is through enduring reputation. While physical procreation perpetuates species, spiritual renown also confers immortality. Some people have minds filled with wisdom. When encountering beautiful souls, they express this wisdom, transmitting it to others. This is spiritual renown. Great political systems and classic literary works are products of such spiritual renown. For example, we still read Shakespeare's plays, study Newton's physics laws, and even Plato's dialogues today. Though these authors died long ago, their ideas are engraved in humanity's cultural DNA, their names enduring eternally. The final path to immortality lies in philosophical ideals. Strictly speaking, the first two paths grant immortality only after death. But through philosophy, people can experience immortality while alive. Through 5 steps, love guides us toward elevation, ultimately granting the experience of immortality. Later generations metaphorically call Socrates' teaching the ladder of love. Step 1. We love physical beauty. When we fall for someone, initial attraction stems from appearance. As romantic experiences accumulate, we discover aesthetic preferences.
We love not a specific face, but a type of appearance.
Step 2. We gradually realize soul's beauty surpasses physical beauty and nobility. As the saying goes, pretty faces are common, but fascinating souls are rare. What truly moves us are unique souls. Their beauty manifests through actions. Thus, at this stage, we love those possessing virtue. Step 3. We ascend from loving souls to loving knowledge. When attracted to people of noble virtue, admiration arises, because we must first understand bravery and generosity to act virtuously. Thus, souls become beautiful through knowledge. Step 4. We rise from loving specific knowledge to loving wisdom itself, just as we outgrow loving one person. Not just moral, mathematical, or botanical knowledge, we discover knowledge itself is beautiful and worthy of pursuit. Here, we immerse in wisdom's ocean. The literal meaning of Greek philosophy is love of wisdom. So from here, love leads us into the philosophical stage.
The 5th step and the highest level.
When we enter the philosophical stage, we love not a specific person or a specific body of knowledge. We love beauty itself, which in Platonic terms is called the idea of beauty. What is the idea of beauty? We can give an example. In the real world, we cannot find an absolutely perfect circle. Circles in the real world, whether drawn by hand or machine, can only approximate that perfect circle to varying degrees.
But we do not think it does not exist, just because we cannot find the most perfect circle. On the contrary, we regard the perfect circle as the template for all circles, even if the world were destroyed.
We would believe this absolutely perfect circle still exists. In Plato's words, this absolutely perfect circle is called the idea of the circle. Similarly, what makes the body, soul, knowledge, and wisdom beautiful is that absolute beauty itself. The closer it is to the idea of beauty, the more beautiful it is. Philosophers gradually ascend the ladder of beauty, ultimately contacting the ideas in contemplation and experiencing immortality with the soul's eye. Having finished the ladder of love, Socrates' speech at the banquet came to an end. Let's review this part again. First, what is love? Socrates believed that love is not as noble as the tragedian said, nor as base as the comedian said. It is an intermediate state, a desire stemming from a sense of lack to constantly acquire beautiful things. Second, what is the function of love? Socrates believed that love's greatest function is to confer immortality through 3 ways: procreation, spiritual creation, and philosophical contemplation. As soon as Socrates finished speaking, everyone expressed admiration. Only the comedian Aristophanes still wanted to argue with him. But suddenly, a clamor arose outside. The host sent a servant to investigate, but before the servant could leave, a handsome yet drunken young man barged in with his entourage. This young man was Alcibiades, the heartthrob of Athens at the time, and a prominent figure in politics. With his entrance, the Symposium also reached its final act.
Alcibiades walked into the room, clamoring to give something to the tragedian who won the drama competition. Whee!
To celebrate the poet Agathon, he walked straight to him and placed a wreath of flowers and a garland symbolizing victory. Just as Alcibiades was about to sit down comfortably for a drink, he saw Socrates next to him, which shocked him greatly, and he immediately demanded to change seats. Alcibiades had known Socrates since his youth, but feared Socrates' philosophical discussions because Socrates always left him speechless and ashamed. After sitting down, Alcibiades forced everyone to drink, and since they couldn't resist, they let him give a speech praising the god of love. Alcibiades agreed to it, but didn't want to praise the god of love. Instead, he aimed to extol Socrates himself. Previously, all speakers, including Socrates, discussed love abstractly without personal experiences, and Alcibiades' speech filled that gap. Next, we'll tell the love story between Alcibiades and Socrates. Alcibiades told everyone that Socrates is both ugly and beautiful. Physically, Socrates is very ugly, resembling a sprite servant beside Dionysus, but his inner beauty is astonishing, like a golden god statue due to his wisdom. To become wise and Athens' most beautiful, Alcibiades pursued him relentlessly. But Socrates, while enjoying Alcibiades' company, never said sweet words. Instead, he asked sharp questions that made Alcibiades reflect on his life. At first, Alcibiades thought it was because of the crowd. Socrates felt embarrassed, so one night Alcibiades deliberately held him while sleeping, hoping to trade this for wisdom. But that night, Socrates just asked questions as usual, nothing else happened, and he left at dawn. From then on, Alcibiades both loved and hated Socrates, fascinated by his wisdom yet hating him for hiding it deeply and refusing to share.
Alcibiades' story caused uproarious laughter.
After that, another group of drunkards barged in, completely disrupting the banquet's order, and the attendees stopped giving speeches. Everyone drank through the night. By dawn, everyone except Socrates had fallen asleep. The solitary, sober philosopher left the house and began a new day as usual, bringing the Symposium's drama to a close. Now, let's review the entire book.
This philosophical drama has 3 parts. Part 1 presents various perspectives on love, valuable but philosophically incomplete.
Part 2 forms the dramatic climax. Through Socrates' speech, especially his ladder of love, the discussion ascends to philosophical heights. The highest love contacts eternal forms through contemplation, experiencing immortality. In other words, the highest love is philosophy. Part 3 gradually descends from the climax. Alcibiades' story supplements earlier parts while suggesting Socrates himself embodies the god of love, eternally aware of ignorance yet ceaselessly pursuing wisdom. Finally, let's discuss the Symposium's place in Western cultural history. Plato is Western philosophy's foremost thinker, and the Symposium ranks among his most influential works, rivaling the Republic. Scholars and writers across eras have translated and annotated it. For example, Romantic poet Percy Bysshe Shelley was one such interpreter. Due to its unparalleled discussion of love, a Renaissance philosopher coined Platonic love, a term still prevalent in popular culture today. The Symposium's enduring power lies in constantly provoking philosophical reflection. As long as humanity seeks wisdom, Plato's thoughts will journey with us. This concludes our interpretation of the Symposium. Study notes are below the audio. See you next time.